What's up YouTube, Dave from wargames, bringing you a Metaphys budget deck profile. Now, the whole deck, the core itself, is very, very cheap. You can probably pick up the whole deck here for probably about 10, no, not 10, probably about 20 to 30 pounds. The extra deck is where it gets a bit more expensive, but the deck itself doesn't rely on the extra deck, so you don't have to worry about it too much. I will take you through the pricing of the extra deck so we can kind of go through it through there. But I'll also take you through the main deck as well and show you what we've got. Now, Metaphys are an incredibly fun deck. This is the budget version. You can put more money into this. You can play like an Invoked engine. You can also play a Demise engine as well, which will come cheaper when we get the Legendary Kyber sets coming out in March. Anyway, we start off with triple Metaphys Ragnarok. Now, this is obviously your main card in the deck. It is your only normal summon without the field spell from the Metaphys lineup. We do play, obviously, other normal summons as well, but Metaphys Ragnarok is the most important one. It is a tuner as well, so we are going to abuse that ability on top of that. Next up, we play triple Metaphys Dalius. Now again, level 7s, what you want to do is you want to make sure you don't brick too much with these cards. That is the biggest issue with this deck, is bricking. So we do have a couple of draw cards in here to hopefully stop us bricking and move the deck and give the deck a bit more consistency on a budget that we are on. Triple Metaphys and Nephthys. Now, of course, both of these cards have the same effects that if it's special summoned by, so Dalius is, if it's special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster, you banish all other face-up special summon monsters on the field, which is really, really nice. If this card is banished during the standby phase of the next turn, you can shuffle this banished card into the deck, banish one Metaphys card from your deck except itself. So it's kind of like a searcher in a sense. So for those of you who don't know what Metaphys kind of are, they rely on being banished and they get effects off when they are, and they get to revive themselves at certain points as well. So if this card is special summoned by effect of a Metaphys monster, you banish all set spell and trap cards on the field. So that's very, very nice because we play very few set spell and trap cards, and being able to just nuke your opponent's back row is very, very cool. And on top of that, you're banishing them as well. And then during the standby phase of the next turn, you can shuffle this banished card into the deck and add a Metaphys card from your deck to your hand. So you get to add a card, not just any monster. So if you don't have Ragnarok, you'll search Ragnarok. If not, you go from there. Ragnarok, obviously, its effect is when it's normal summoned, I believe it is. Normal or special summoned, you banish it up to banish the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you gain 300 attack for each Metaphys card banished. So obviously, you want to be banishing as many as you can. Next up, I play double Metaphys Tyrant Dragon. This is kind of cool when it's special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster is unaffected by trap effects. Also, if it attacks a monster, it can make a second attack in a row, and it's a 2900 beta. If this card is banished during the standby phase of the next turn, you can shuffle this banished monster into the banished card into the deck. Special summon one Metaphys monster from your hand, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. So it can kind of help unbrick your hand as well. Some people play it free. This is entirely up to you. If you do play it free, I do advise trade-ins because that can help unclog your hand as well. They are all light monsters, so we play triple honest. Obviously, major glare on those ones. Triple honest, I was debating playing it at 2, but 3 is kind of what you need. Because when your Metaphys monster, when your Ragnarok deals battle damage, so when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon one level 5 or higher Metaphys monster from your deck, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. So you want to be giving this guy as much opportunity as possible to deal damage, and honest can be one of those cards that can help you do so. Double Necrophase. Now, obviously, we want to be banishing our stuff, so Necrophase can help out massively, and we do play Pot of Desires, so Necrophase can actually help us gain back what we've banished as well. Other options in the deck as well, if you want to try that out, is Eater of Millions. That can be very, very helpful and very, very cool to try out, but for now, Necrophase is the better alternative. And the one, Fairy Tale Snow. So for the times when this stuff goes into the graveyard, obviously, your Necrophase, you'll get the most effects off by banishing that, but it obviously helps you with your level 8 Synchro plays and obviously your rank 4 plays. And on top of that, the Book of Moon effect is always good. But then being able to banish these guys and then get rid of them and recycle them can be very, very helpful, especially when we get to these spells and traps for the Metaphys. So that's it for the monster lineup, a very standard monster lineup there. You can play hand traps if you want to put more money into it as well. So you've got like your Max Siege, your Ghost Ogres, and of course your Ash Blossoms. So it's entirely up to you on how much you want to put into the deck. Next up, we play triple Pot of Duality. Now, we very rarely want to be special summoning during our turn. The only times we want to be doing that is when our Ragnarok can do battle damage. Now, you don't have to play Pot of Duality. It can be both a two-edged sword. Now, the best thing about Pot of Duality is if you don't open up with your Metaphys Ragnarok, it can help you search out the rest of the monsters that you'll need, or can hopefully get you into your field spell or into your Ragnarok itself. On the other flip side of that, obviously it can get you an honest to hand as well that helps push your plays forward. On the flip side of that, it does mean that Ragnarok is kind of effective being able to special summon a Metaphys monster from your deck if you do battle damage. So that's the one downside of it, is you feel you can do battle damage to your opponent, you don't really want to be using your duality. Other than that, you do special summon most of your Metaphys monsters during your opponent's turn sometimes, or during the next standby phase. So you do Ragnarok's effect, you banish your 3, and then during your next standby phase you'll special summon. So it can be very, very helpful to kind of work it that way. So it's entirely up to you on Pot of Duality. You don't have to play it. Like I said, this is more the budget version. If you want to take these out, the other thing that I've been looking into is like Summon a Monk to help get you to your Ragnaroks as soon as you possibly can, and kind of play it that way. Next up, we've got triple Metaphys Factor and the 1 Terraforming. Now, I was juggling between 2 and 3 Terraformings because I want to see my Metaphys Factor, because it does straight away unclog my hands, because the Metaphys Factor, one level 5 or higher monster, you can normal summon it without tributing, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn, which again is fine because you get to recycle them and use their effects off. And your opponent cannot activate cards or effective in response to your Metaphys monster's effects activation. So it means if you've got that in play, your opponent can't strike your Ragnarok effect because they can't respond to their effects going off. So it is still an important card, but having multiples in hand can be an issue because you don't have easy ways of getting rid of it. It does mean that your snow becomes more live because you'll be banishing these. Or, of course, if you played Eater of Minions, you can do that as well. So it does give you another option. And again, with Pot of Duality, getting into this won't be the end of the world, because if you go into this or a Terraforming, you then get to unclog your hand again and kind of stall out for a little bit longer. Next up, we play Triple As Metaphys. This card again is really, really cool. You banish a Metaphys monster. Once per turn, you get to banish 1 Metaphys card from your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card. Once per turn, if your Metaphys card in its owner's possession is banished, apply this effect depending on whose turn it is. So your turn, all monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense except Metaphys monsters. Your opponent's turn, change the battle position of all monsters on the field except Metaphys monsters. So it can be quite helpful. It's a nice little 1-for-1 kind of draw and deck fin a little bit well. And on top of that combos off nicely with Ragnar Zero in our extra deck, because if you do it during your turn, you weaken all your opponent's monsters, make your Ragnar Zero, detach, pop one of your opponent's monsters, draw a card, and then you get to move your plays on forward from there. Triple Gold Sark, and obviously you can drop a... you banish any monster that you kind of need to get hold of in a couple of turns' time, or of course you banish your Necroface to banish more monsters, and that again can start fueling your Metaphys kind of engine. Double Pot of Desires. I never really play 3 in a deck because I know when I activate a Desires I'm going to draw into another Desires. But on top of that, obviously, you can recycle everything you desire, so it's not the end of the world. You play a lot of things at 3. Those extra 2 cards can be the game changer for you as well. Because this is easily accessible to everyone in Ultra, it's very, very cheap and easy to get hold of. One little tech that I am trialing now is a Soul Absorption. Now, you can play more Soul Absorptions if you want, but on top of that, obviously, it's just if a card or cards is banished, you gain 5 life points. So with your Pot of Desires, you're going to be gaining life points there. With your Fairy Tale Snow, you're going to be gaining life points there. With your Ragnarok, you're going to be gaining life points there. And it's constantly being able to, if you open up this card, it's very, very good and can kind of help put you further out of reach, especially in a stalling tactic as well, because it gives your opponent more to deal with. Now, obviously, you can play this more. I couldn't find multiple copies. If I was going to play multiple copies, again, you can put your Pot of Dualities down if you wanted to. It just gives you a little bit more to kind of go with. And then the final spell we play is the 1 Dimensional Fissure, because we want to be banishing everything. So again, that kind of combos off with your Soul Absorption. You're banishing your monsters. Obviously, it sucks a little bit with Fairy Tale Snow. But ideally, you want to be doing this, activating this either before or after. For the pure fact that before, you don't want to be wasting your snow. You want to save that. Afterwards, your snow's already in graveyard, so it's not affected anyway. But again, comboing off with Soul Absorption, you're getting loads of effects off there. Now on through the trap lineup, which again is quite straightforward and simple. We play triple Waterfalls of the Dragon Soul. This is obviously to search out your Ragnarok if you don't have it, but it also gets you to send a 1 monsters from your hand and or face up from the field, and then you get to draw cards equal to the number of cards plus 1. So it kind of helps recycle your hand, give you a bit more draw power and deck fin into what you need. Next up, we play double Metaphys Dimensions. You can play this at 3, but it is reliant on your opponent. So if your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage state, you target one of your banished Metaphys monsters, special summon it, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. If your other Metaphys card, if your other Metaphys card in its owner's possession is banished when this card is already face up on the field in your spell and trap card zone, you target 1 card your opponent controls and banish it. You can only use each effect of Metaphys Dimensions once per turn. So that effect is really, really powerful, but it's talking about singular. So obviously at that point, it has to be in your possession as well. So it's kind of a lot harder. It means that your snow's a little bit more relevant and active. And again, it can kind of help a bit with your defissure, because if it's in your possession and then it gets banished, you get your effects off. So it can help. 2 is more than enough for me at this moment in time, but you can play it 3 if you wish. And then finally, the 1 Macrocosmo, because again, like I said, we want everything to kind of be banished, and it really disrupts your opponent. There's very few decks out there that can actually play under Defissure and Macrocosmo. Now onto the extra deck. Now this is where the money gets into it. So actually, before that, I'll go through the main deck. Everything on the main deck is really, really cheap. Like Macrocosmos are like pounds. They're like 50p's. 50p's to a pound. Like 50p's to a pound. These are all like £2 each. Really, really cheap. You can get them in common. As Metaphys are like £1.50 each. Terraforming's like everyone's got them now. Factors are like 10p commons. Dualities, again, you can get these really, really cheap. Snow you can get for like £1 or so. Necrofaces might be your hardest ones to get, but again, you can pick them up quite cheaply. I'm pretty sure they've had a common print as well. Honest has so many prints, it's unreal. And then the rest of these are all from Circuit Break, and they're all rares and supers, so they're all really, really cheap. You can probably buy this whole deck in bulk, like I said, for about 20 to 30 quid. Now onto the extra. This is where the money comes into it. So we play the 1 Akeshic Magician. I just really, really like playing this card in any deck that can make it, because if you do want to use your extra zone, you can. If not, you get to bounce back some monsters and recycle them, use them again, and move your plays forward. You don't have to play this. It is about a £10 card, so you can play other rank 4 staple cards. Gaia Saber, again, you don't have to play this. It's a £10 card. But like I said, if you play Eater of Millions, if you want to play the Eater of Millions version, you can rely on your extra deck. So you can fill up your extra deck with pretty much anything you want and abuse it that way. Exact same with Deco Talker. You don't have to play it. It is just there for your link plays. But because our resources are very scarce in our diving into our extra deck, it's not that relevant. And obviously got the Utopia package. Again, this can be made cheaper. You don't have to play these. These can be 5 random cards straight away that you can banish off of Eater of Millions. If you wanted to play Ghost Reaper, these could be targets for them. Or if you don't use Reaper, you can use it against your Eater of Millions. Tornado Dragon, again, about a tenner. Probably more relevant because it's a nice little staple card. Same with Baguska. 1 of 3 is probably the main one you really have to have in your extra deck because of the ability to, when it combos off with Metaphys, it's very, very powerful and can help you deck thin and draw a couple of cards there. Big Eye had loads of reprints. Red Eye Sphere again has had quite a few reprints, obviously as an Ultra again as well. Rank 8, you got Heliopolis, is a few quid there. Don't have to play this, but this again is another nice one to kind of help clear out your hand. Your Alzi, the Sylvian High Protector, and then your number 38, Hope Harbinger, Dragon Titanic Galaxy. Again, this is probably where the more money is, but again, you don't have to play this. And then finish it off, we play double Cypher Lord Omega. Again, a bit more money's going in there. The reason we play this is because A, it can recycle your banished off of your desires if you need it to. It can also bring back your snow if you banish your snow, and it can bring back anything that your snow banishes. So it can be very, very helpful, and of course it frees up the extra monster zone again and lets it come back onto the board. Obviously, what you do need to remember is when you do bring out your Daedalus, you will lose this card, but then you would obviously make sure that this is banished before you go into that account. Anyway, that is it for the deck profile. Now, like I said, on these cards, you're probably looking at a bit more money because of the extra deck monsters. You're probably looking at about 8 quid on each of these, probably 10 on there. So let's say 16, 20, 30, like 40, let's say 50 there, 60, 65, 70, 80, 90 quid. So you're looking at about 90 quid in your extra deck, but like I said, the only one that I recommend that you must have is Ragnar Zero. Omega is very, very helpful, but it doesn't have to be played, so it does give you a couple of options there. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope this is going to give you an idea of the Metaphys deck profile. I will be doing a test time video for you guys on Monday, just so I can get a hang of the deck myself, and kind of learn more tricks and traits for the deck. Anyway, like I said, hope this helps. Hope this gives you a couple of ideas. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Obviously, it is New Year's Eve on Sunday, so I do hope you all have a very, very good New Year's Eve. You know, whatever you decide to do, enjoy it. And then we will see you on the 1st, bright and early, ready to go for the new year of Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Have a very good New Year's. And as always, guys, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.